Welcome to another edition of Witchfinder's Gaming Vault. Today I'm going to be looking at the Peter Scott Trilogy on the BBC Micro, which is a compilation of 3 games from prolific BBC Micro coder Peter Scott. Let's take a look at the fact file for this one. The Peter Scott Trilogy was released in 1988 in Europe, or the UK to be more specific. It was published by Top 10 Software, and unsurprisingly the 3 games were developed by Peter Scott. The price I paid for this less than a year ago was £3.05, and the current going rate on eBay or other retro gaming online stores is about £3 to £5. As you'd expect, it doesn't cost much different to what I paid for it last year. Let's begin then by taking a look at the packaging in more detail, and as you can see it's from Top 10 Software, as I've already mentioned, and the price is in the top left corner there. This was £1.99 for a compilation of 3 games. The front cover artwork is interesting. It's a computer designed picture of Peter Scott along with some characters from one of his games, but obviously from the colours you can see this wouldn't have been done on a BBC Micro. It's surely got to have been done on a 16-bit system, either an Amiga or an Atari ST, I imagine. But yeah, it says on the front here that it features Pandemonium, Network and Yo-Yo. Those are the 3 games. Overall, that top section makes it look a little bit cheap and tacky, to be honest, which to be fair it is at £1.99. There's the spine, which says Peter Scott Trilogy again on it. Again, not very nicely put together there. And on the back, a typical top 10 packaging design. So you've got the red section at the top and the yellow at the bottom. You've got a couple of screenshots from 2 of the 3 games, and it says the Peter Scott Trilogy features 3 games, all written by Peter Scott, the master of the arcade adventure. It then gives an overview of the 3 games, which are Network, you are the only hope for the whole universe; Pandemonium, control the Q4 droid through 80 screens of manic action; and Yo-Yo, trapped inside a computer game, you are Yo-Yo, and that's basically all it says about that. And finally at the bottom it says 3 superb games from one of the top BBC programmers. Don't miss this. Well, I'm not. I'm going to play it, although I did miss it back in 1988. So here's a quick look at the cassette, which I won't be loading up because I'll be loading these games off my SD card on my BBC Micro. As you can see, pretty naff looking. The tape's gone very yellow actually, and it just has the information about the game printed onto the actual cassette. It's not even got a label stuck onto it. So it's got Yo-Yo on that side, and it's got Pandemonium and Network on the opposite side. Let's move on to the instructions, although I'm not actually going to cover the instructions in too much detail here. You can see there's a big list of other games available from Top 10 Software. Bogey's Pick, which was a branding that they used for their games. They did some compilations with some of the games in. Nothing particularly interesting stands out there. Space Relief is a terrible name for a game. And then on inside it gives more detail about those games as well. You can see an overview of each of the games that were featured on the previous side, telling you that they're available for different systems. It says at the top there, Top 10 Software produced games for the 5 leading home computers, and the 5 that they're talking about are the Spectrum, Commodore, Amstrad, Atari and BBC. It then got the loading instructions, very simple, and then the overview of the 3 games, which I'm going to cover when I actually look at the 3 games. And just to mention at the bottom, it says the Peter Scott Trilogy features 3 games all written by Peter Scott. We've already said that. And the cover picture was designed by Jolyon Myers, based upon a photograph by Gary Partis, who was a friend of Peter Scott and another BBC Micro programmer. And it says it's a Godax production from Maynard International, 1988. And also there's a page here looking for programmers to provide their games to Top 10 or Godax software. It also says if you have a certain talent for a part of programming, such as graphics but not code, contact us and we'll put you in touch with somebody local to you so you can perhaps form a whole team. Isn't that nice? And there's also Bogey's Club, which is something you can send off for more information about the latest releases from Top 10 Software. So there you go, that was the packaging. Let's now take a look at the 3 games that comprise the Peter Scott Trilogy. Okay, so I've loaded Pandemonium up off my SD card. You can see the title screen here, which also has a high score table on. And just to read you the brief or the overview of what this game's about, the instructions say control the Q4 droid through 80 screens of manic action, collecting the 12 parts of the core of a neutronium bomb to destroy the less than friendly alien commander who's trying to fry your circuits. It also says use the springs of plants to bounce higher than you can jump. Some objects give you extra percentage in energy. Use the telephone kiosks to teleport. You can call any distance without damage, and watch out for electrified platforms. That's it for the instructions. It does also tell you what the keyboard controls are. No joystick on this one or any of the games we're going to be playing in this video. And so let's get it started, shall we? So if you've not seen a Peter Scott game before, then you'll know one when you see one from now on, because they always have this very distinctive colour scheme I think it's done in mode 5 on the BBC Micro. It might be mode 2, I'm not sure. I'm sure the experts out there will correct me if I'm wrong. And there's only 4 colours, basically black, red, yellow and cyan. And almost all of his games, certainly the ones that I've played, use that colour scheme. And you'll see that when we look at the other 2 as well. They've also got a very distinctive look in terms of the graphics. Quite a few of them are reused from one game to another. So if you've seen some of his other games, you might recognise some of the sprites in use here. They have a kind of cute, quirky look to them. Lots of aliens and interesting looking robots and things like that. So I'm controlling the little man at the bottom left of the screen at the moment. And your controls are Z and X for left and right, return to jump, shift to fire, and there's also a button for using the telephone kiosks if I find any in this game, sorry. So yeah, the aim of the game is to collect sections of a neutronium bomb, I think it said in the instructions, didn't it? And to do that you've got to navigate through a number of flick screen levels. I think it said there were 80, or maybe it was 100, I'm not sure. I could look at the instructions again to find out, but I'm not going to, so I'm playing the game now. So yeah, what you've got to do is get yourself around the levels, try not to lose energy. You've got lives and energy. The energy bar is top right there. You can also see that I've got 4 lives currently, and also the score at the top there. So if I go over here, there's not really anything over there, so let's go this way. So one thing about these Peter Scott games, that again, if you've played them before you'll know about, and you just saw it happen, is that when you go onto a moving platform, you have to carry on moving. If you go and stand still on the platform, it just goes without you. So you have to actually edge yourself along, and that takes some getting used to. I have played most of these games before, or some Peter Scott games. I haven't actually really played this one before doing this video, although I did have a trial run before I started recording. So yeah, there's a bunch of things to negotiate. There's moving platforms like the ones we've just been seeing that you have to walk along. There's also these retracting floors. There's lots of enemies which you can actually stand on the top of in some places, and we might see that at some point without losing health. And yeah, you basically just got to make your way around this quirky landscape and find bits and pieces to reconstruct, or whatever, the neutronium bomb, or whatever the instructions were saying. So, oh, this doesn't look good. I'm stuck in a hole, but there's a spring there, so I guess I've got to use that spring. But yeah, the problem there is, just to demonstrate what I was doing again there, and the thing I was saying about being able to jump onto the tops of enemies, when I turn that way I can't shoot the enemy because there's not enough space for a bullet, and there's no way to just turn and from the position I'm in and just face the opposite direction. So you can't actually use the spring at the moment. You have to use your own jumping ability to get you to the top there, and that you'll see this happening a lot as well, where you jump off the top of a screen and you end up jumping onto the screen above. I don't really need to kill that thing now, I don't think, so let's just get moving. So yeah, I'll manoeuvre my way around. So there's a piece of something I think above me there, but I can't get to it by moving up this side because there's nothing to get me up there. So I need to get rid of some of these enemies while I'm here, I think. As you can see, a variety of cute enemies, as I was saying. Nothing looks too terrifying, but they all drain your health. Yeah, so annoyingly, you can't fire unless there's enough space for the massive laser beam to come out. So that adds another layer of complexity to things, along with the platforms that go without you. These games, as I say, got a very distinctive style to them, and they do take a bit of getting used to, and can be quite frustrating at times, especially with, oh, there goes a life, especially with the jumping, which is also very, as you can see there, just if you hold down return, you just continually jump. So you have to get used to actually jumping at the right time as well, and not over pressing the jump, otherwise you end up doing double jumps and landing in places you didn't expect to. So yeah, there's a lot of little quirky things to get used to. Once you do get used to them, they're pretty fun usually, these games. They're quite good. They're, you know, plenty of exploring, plenty of different enemies to interact with, or shoot in the case of this game. But yeah, they definitely take some getting used to with the controls and things like that. So probably want to be, oh, can't get there now, so I'm gonna have to go over this side. This is what I mean about the jumping, and there's also some pixel perfect jumping required to get from one platform to another. All these things sent to try you, and they do try you. Sometimes you'll find yourself infuriated at these games. So I'm going to use this trampoline here to get me up to the top. Oh, and I've fallen straight off. It takes a while to learn that you have to be ready to react. Oh no, now I've got zapped by the enemy there. I can't actually get that one. It's annoying. So you've got to time it so that you're landing on the platform when the enemy's nowhere near you. There we go. Right, now we're making some progress. Slowly. So yeah, what I'm aiming for here is to drop down the right hand side of the left hand side of this screen, which is hard to describe, but there you go. Yeah, so I'm going to walk across here and also across here, shoot this thing, pick up that ×2, I don't know, it's points ×2, energy ×2, I'm not sure. So now my aim is to try and drop down the right hand side of the platform in this middle bit, basically. Is this going to work? Yay, I got it, there we go, I've got a piece of core. Core completeness, 8%. That's 1 out of 12 pieces got. So you get the idea. What I'm going to do now is progress through the game a little bit further and see what else I can encounter. But to be honest, it's going to be largely more of the same, because that's what these games are like. It's a combination of platforming, puzzle solving to some extent of how to negotiate through some of the screens, and also obviously blasting things when you need to. So I've been making a bit more progress working through several screens. I haven't collected any more pieces, although I can see one on the right hand side of this screen which I can't get to. But I'm in an area now where it looks like I'm stuck, because I can climb up onto this platform here, but I can't jump up from there. Oh, I can, there you go, I can jump up. I didn't think I could, but there you go. I tried that a few times before I started recording. I couldn't work out how to do it, but there you go, you can get out of it, so there we go. So I shall move on. So what I haven't talked about, I did talk about the graphics, which, as I said, have got that distinctive look to them with the 3 colours, the cyan, red and yellow, which is used on almost all Peter Scott's games. And they've also got the very quirky sort of characters and robots and things like that, and the platforms and things are very similar between a lot of his games as well. What I didn't talk about was the music and sound effects. There is a tune in the background, and I can't quite place it. It is familiar. I suspect it's been used on some other computer games that I've played, most likely Commodore 64 ones, because as I say, it's familiar, but I can't quite place what it is. I'm sure someone out there will know what it is who's watching this video, hopefully, and they can tell me, and anyone else who's watching. So here's another place where you've got to drop through these 2 trampolines, and then you end up stuck on top of one of these robots, which looks like the robots from the Smash adverts, if you remember that, the mashed potato. The mashed potato in a packet or whatever it was. I can't get rid of him, so I don't think I really need to at this point. But I do need to get rid of these guys, who can be annoyingly evasive considering they're only going up and down. Yeah, so there's also some sound effects just for jumping and also for firing the weapons. So there's a lot of drop and hope kind of stuff in these games as well. So for example, I'm going to drop off here. Sometimes you'll end up dropping onto something that drains your energy. There's very much a you need to play this multiple times and learn how to get through it kind of approach to these games, like a lot of these sort of flick screen platform arcade adventure type games that were released in this era. So yeah, jumping on the platforms, it can be really quite annoying. Actually, I think this is where I don't think I'm going to be able to get onto that green one. I'll just try it once more, just to see if I can. Here it comes. No, I'm struggling to get on that. I think you have to do this by jumping onto one of these yellow plants. So let's just try that. Yeah, so I'm losing health, but also I'm bouncing higher, and I can't get it right. Oh, but I did get back up onto there. Okay, right, okay, so now I'm up onto there. So as I say, there is a bit of a puzzle element, sort of a bit of trial and error to see how things work. And while you're doing that, you will probably lose a lot of health, at least to begin with. especially annoying in this game is that you can't shoot things that are right next to you, so you have to get to a place where you can drop on them instead, or get around them. Ooh, oh dear, that's bad news. Okay, so there's a telephone box there, but I don't have the number for any other telephone boxes, and I don't know, I feel like if I jump there I'm just going to get stuck, because how do I get out of it once I'm there, unless there's a secret to it that I can't quite see. So I'm just going to carry on for now, see if I can find another telephone box that doesn't look so much like it's going to get me trapped in an area. So anyway, let's move on. What I didn't mention is you've also got a limited amount of shot power, so you do have to find power-ups. Oh, and there goes the life. So I'm down to my last one. Yeah, you have got a limited amount of shot power, which is just replenished. So the energy bar is the blue one at the top right, and the yellow one, if you see what I'm firing, is gradually going down. So that's your power level for your weapon, which can run out, which that would then mean, of course, that you've got to find some way of like powering up somewhere, basically. Oh, so much random jumping. Right, there we go. There's something in the corner there, actually. I wonder what that is. Can't get it from there. See where I need to make use of a trampoline. There we go. That was replenishment of energy and possibly the weapon as well. I'm not sure. So here you've got to time jumping through this gap just right without hitting this thing. There you go. At least that thing's gone now. So you don't actually have to press the jump button when you're on the trampolines. They just work automatically, and eventually, there we go. Oh, well, that took me a lot higher than I was expecting. Oh dear. It's quite chaotic, and it doesn't take much for you to suddenly lose all your health. I can't get up there. Okay, so got that. Okay, yeah, I get it. So jump onto the second platform. Oh god. Yeah, there's a lot of this falling from one screen to another. I've never been able to make... No, I can't get up there either. So what do I do here? Go up the left hand side instead, I think, is the answer. Ooh. Do you think come back? I think I got rid of those before. Right, okay. So got rid of him. No. All that jumping and I've ended up nowhere. There we go. Get onto this one. Oh, come on. Yeah, so as I was saying, these games, I can never decide if they're just massively infuriating or just like kind of endearingly cute is the word I'm looking for. So, yeah. There's one game in particular by Peter Scott, Hunky Dory, that I am a big fan of. But it's got very similar problems as this one, in that you've got very twitchy controls and yeah, things that just don't work the way you want to sometimes. But all the same, I do like it, so I don't know. Take what you will from that. No, I think the idea, what you've got to do here... oh no, hang on. You've got to do it this side, haven't you? But you just keep landing on that, so you can't get any higher up, because I was thinking of jumping up the left-hand side here. I don't know. It's quite confusing. Oh, I've got an extra life, by the way. That power-up I picked up on the other side was obviously an extra life. Yeah, there we go. Oh no, almost. So yeah, the idea there is somehow you've got to send yourself... so when you've done a big jump, it actually lasts for a while, and you sort of stick to the roof for a little bit. But you've got to time it perfectly right so that you get through both these moving platforms and also get past the bit that you want to get back to. So obviously a timing thing involved here, but let's go up there. There we go, and down the other side. Oh, that was brilliant, because now I'm stuck on that side instead. Let's get over there. No, no, and there goes another life. Where's it going to put me now, I wonder? Right back where I started. Yeah, it can be a little bit unfair with the respawn points, I think it's fair to say as well. Yeah, so basically what I've got to do here is jump up to the top. Oh no, and there goes my last life, and there we go, that's game over. Quite a frustrating game, it has to be said. One of those that you've really got to learn how to do each screen and be very careful about your approach. but there also seems to always be a bit of randomness to it. Anyway, so that was the first of the 3 games, and I'll be honest with you, the other 2 are along a very similar line to these 2, but let's look at them anyway. And the next one of those is going to be Network. Here's the title screen for the second game then. This is The Network, as it says in game here, rather than just Network, and some music accompanying this nice title screen, which I can't quite place. Again, it's a familiar tune, but I don't know the name of it. And there's not much else to this one. It's got the credits, it says 1986 Peter Scott, so I guess that was when the game was originally programmed, and also the top 10 software, and it says press any key to start. But before I do that, I should probably tell you the instructions for this one, and it says the famed network of Senator is the only hope left for everyone in the universe, everyone except the Cryons, that is, who built it to try and tap into computer frequencies that control and sustain all life. However, Dave the droid might just be able to collect the parts of the fabled flinch, which can be used to destroy the controller of the network. That depends on you. It says there are over 100 screens of lifts, port machines, aliens, objects to collect, puzzles and blasting action. Dave's energy is displayed as 2 graphs at the top of the screen. The yellow trace is laser power and the cyan trace is charge, and I'm guessing you're already thinking this sounds familiar. When charge is depleted, Dave will expire. It's got the controls, and then it also says that there are port machines. These are cyan booths marked with a T. Enter the number of the one you want to go to and find the numbers out as you go along. Again, that sounds very much like the previous game that I just looked at. So anyway, let's get started. You've heard enough of me reciting the instructions. Let's get going. So straight away you can see the similarities to the other games. Some of the graphical assets are the same. There's no music in this one, but there are sound effects. There you go. For lasers, and the lasers look again exactly like they did in the previous game. I would say this looks a little bit more simplistic, although the enemies are different but also the same, in as much as they've got very similar characteristics and look to them, with the googly eyes and things like that. Your main character is called Dave. He's Dave the droid, and this character was also used in my favourite Peter Scott game, which is called Hunky Dory, and yeah, it looks exactly the same, or very similar in at least, with a kind of spherical look with little legs that wiggle backwards and forwards as you move. So anyway, let's get on with the game. It's got much of the same design and problems as the last one, in as much as the jumping's very trigger happy with the return key, and these platforms, when you jump on them, you have to walk with them, otherwise you fall off, just to demonstrate that again. So yeah, very similar game design in terms of the layout and of the screens, the colours, the graphics, the sound effects probably as well, and also the controls. And the aim of the game, I think, is similar as well. You've got to collect the number of... Oh, so you keep jumping off that second platform and then just falling straight down again. And once you get this right, here we go. You do get off this screen eventually. I get stuck there, but I can jump up here. Oh, shoot this thing. There we go. And finally, I'm safely onto the second screen. But yeah, it does get a little bit frustrating with these controls sometimes. Oh no, now I've fallen down that side. Luckily I've been able to jump back up again. But basically what I've got to do is jump onto this moving platform and... oh no, not do that. Jump back up there. Oh no, missed it again. Jump onto this moving platform and then onto the ledge above and shoot the enemy as it's going backwards and forwards. There we go. Oh, I've jumped over it. That's done the same job basically. So yeah, once again, it's a flick screen platform arcade adventure style game. As I say, very similar. I don't know if that's a teleporter there or not. Very similar to the previous game in look and feel, but let's play it a little bit anyway and see where we can get. Let's get this thing. There we go, got him. Oh, so that ground there is draining my health. There's lots of things here. Oh, okay, I'm up there now. That's okay. Shoot all these things quite easily from up here now. I'm up there. There. One more to get. Nope, missed it. Give it another try. There we go. Okay, so I've not got much health left. Interesting that it said in the instructions it was a cyan bar, but the health is actually red. But plenty of bullets left at the moment. At some point, obviously, I'm going to die. And yeah, in terms of things to avoid, much the same. There's enemies, there's platforms that you can land on that drain your health, and also in this case there's little sort of energy bolts in these things that you need to move through, so just to walk through there, so avoid those. Oops. Oh, shoot him while I'm up there, I guess. Yeah, is there actually any point in going through that bit of the level? I'm not sure there is. Oh, now I've fallen down there. Okay, so let's carry on moving around and see what we can find. Ooh, oh yeah, and there goes the first life. So yeah, I didn't mention, but it should have been obvious by now, that just like the first game, you've got a health bar and the number of lives, 5 to begin with in this case. Nope, I don't know what's going on there. Okay, yeah, okay, I get it. So yeah, I've got to go under here, try and blast some of these enemies. A similar sort of thing with the platforms, which are identical to the previous game, that move backwards and forwards. A sort of retracting floor, I suppose you'd say that is. So again, you've got to slowly navigate yourself backwards and forwards on these platforms. Jump up to the top there, and there you can see I've collected the first piece of the flinch. So now I'm going to have to backtrack and make my way back to other parts of the level, so I think I will pause the video at that point until I get back to a new and exciting area to investigate. Okay, so I've got myself out of the area I was in and moved to this area, and you can see one of the teleporters on the right hand side there. At the moment I'm just going to ignore that because I'm going to have to move along that platform that's going left and right on the left hand side of the screen to get across to that, and to get onto that platform I need to move from a platform on the previous screen, and it just seems like a little bit too much like hard work. So let's just move on and see where else I go. Oh, I'm falling down a very deep pit. Okay, well that didn't bring me to any harm, and nor did that. I can see an extra life down there if the icons from the previous game or anything to go by, and some familiar aliens on that screen as well that we've seen before. So yeah, Peter Scott. Oh, it looks like we get keys in this game because there's a door that I presumably can't get through at the moment. Peter Scott definitely reused a lot of assets from his games and employed similar game design. Oh, there's some trampolines there as well. But he was quite well renowned for creating some attractive looking and challenging games. And I think we've already seen certainly the challenging aspect of them. Oh no, I don't want to be jumping on that. Okay, let's get rid of that. So I'm going to move along this platform slowly and carefully. Oh no, straight onto another platform. Oh no, there goes a life. Interesting screen effect. Oh god, I'm just going to go back this way. Interesting screen effect. When you lose a life, the screen sort of collapses on itself. I'm really struggling to hit this guy. There we go, finally got him. Oh, and there's another screen like that as well. Oh. Okay. Shooting the enemies can be quite tricky. Finally, I'm in a safe area. What have we got here? Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't actually know why I've got onto this screen now because I can't see anything of any value on it at all. Put myself in a safe place. I'll probably get to this by some pixel perfect jumping. Oh, wow, okay, this is going to be hard. Oh, you can do it. Let's get rid of one of those things. Oh yeah, you've got to literally be off the edge of the platform when you jump here. There we go. One more jump, hopefully, and we're there. Why have I come across here now? There's literally nothing there. Oh yeah, there's a way through there as well. This is laborious. Oh, interesting. What do I do now? I guess I accept that I'm going to lose some health and just drop through the gap. There we go. I didn't even lose any health. So yeah, having played this one a little bit, I do think it's a little bit easier or a little bit less often that you actually lose health and oh no, that didn't work, and get stuck in places where I can't get on this platform though. It seems like there's less times where you get stuck in places where your health just gets drained, so I think it's probably a little bit more forgiving than the first game. There we go, there's another flinch part. no doubt what's going to happen here is, well, let's see what happens when I drop down here. Oh no, I'm back to where I started. That's handy, so I haven't got to go and backtrack all the way through all those screens that I did before I got to that piece of the whatever it is I'm collecting. The flinch it's called. It's very hard to shoot some of these things. Not that one though. So through this gap, and let's see what we see next. More things to shoot, more things to avoid. A very slow moving platform. What's annoying about the platforms is when you're walking along them, you walk faster than the platforms go, so you have to keep tapping the keyboard to move across rather than just holding the keyboard the key down. You actually have to sort of tap basically, as I was just saying. Oh no. There we go, got him as well. Let's go this way. What a lot of enemies. What's good is there's lots of enemies moving around, but there's no slowdown in the game, so that's kind of good, I guess. And you see there's some trampolines now, which we saw in the previous game, and I think looked almost identical to the ones that we're seeing now. Ooh. And again, you don't have to jump when you're on those, you do that automatically. Ooh dear, no. No idea what I'm going to discover as I walk around this way, but I'll soon find out. Yeah, in fact, I'll do some more navigation and see if I can find anything more interesting, and then restart the video, because I don't want this video to go on too long, and with it being 3 games in one video, it might go on a while. Yeah, I mean, it's largely just a lot of screens. I think it was 100 screens of the same kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is play through a little bit more, and when I'm down to my final life, I will restart the video, or if I see something interesting while I'm moving around, and I'll restart the video and show you a bit more. But I don't want this video to go on forever. Why am I going this way? I guess just to navigate through a load more screens. But anyway, I'll do that in my own time rather than wasting yours. So it didn't go well because you've rejoined me now in a very precarious position. I've just paused the game because I'm on my last life and I'm stuck in a pit with a floor that drains my health, and I can't seem to get out of it. So this isn't going to last much longer unless I can somehow jump out here. This seems like a bug or a not very good game design, because yeah, I'm stuck in this pit. I literally cannot get out of it. Yeah, so this is going to be the end of the game. So that was a bit of a shame. Like the first game, it seems a little bit glitchy and not very well designed in places. I did get a high score. You do get a high score. It tells you how much you've explored and how much percentage of the flinch you've got, and then there's a high score table. So definitely better than the first game, I think, ever so slightly, but a very similar game. It's one of those that you have to kind of, I guess, map out and play a lot and work out how to navigate through certain areas. But little things like that, where you fall into a pit that you can't get out of and it just drains all your health and kills you, are not great. So let's now move on to the third game, which is called Yo-Yo, and see if that's any different from the first two. Okay, so here's a title screen for Yo-Yo. As you can see, quite nicely drawn on the screen there in the usual colours that you come to expect from these games already. And it says press a key to start, and there's a tune playing in the background. Not one I recognise, might be an original composition by Peter Scott, or it might be just a tune that I just don't recognise but is actually a well-known one. Anyway, you get the idea. Let's press a key to start. And doing so, you get a title screen, very similar to the other games again. You've got the option for Q for a quiet game, T for tune off, or S for sound on, which means sound effects and music. So I'm going to start with that, and well, let's just do that. And here's the game, and you can hear a very familiar tune in the background. It's the can-can. But I don't want to hear that, so what I'm actually going to do now is quit the game, because you can't switch the sound off in game, I don't think. No, you can't. So I'm going to quit the game and start again, because I don't want to listen to the can-can for the amount of time that I'm going to be playing this game. So obviously you then get a score and whatever. We'll see that again when I end the game the next time round. As with the other two games, let's give you the overview of the game from the instructions. It says some hacker fiddling with the satellite has caused you to get trapped inside the computer game you were playing. Control yo-yo, jumping and avoiding and destroying strange creatures that inhabit the game. Collect the valves that will hopefully zap you back to Earth. There are 75 screens in this one, full of deadly spikes, lifts and aliens, which will be destroyed by your barrier. You can fall any distance without dying. Watch out for the time limit. And it's got the keyboard controls. And the difference here then is that you've got a barrier instead of shooting things. And I'll explain what that means when I start the game, which is going to be right now. So here's the first screen of the game, as you've already seen once. And as you can now tell, there's no music in the background, which is a blessing, I think, in the case of listening to the can-can. So you already see a very similar layout of the level as you've already seen in the other two games. We've got moving platforms, we've got some enemies which you should be familiar with already from the previous game as well. So the difference is, in this game you've got this barrier which sort of puts a square around you that kills the enemies if they make contact with it. And the other significant difference in this game compared to the other two is you don't have a health bar in this one. Instead you have lives. So I've got, I think that's 6 lives there. So contact with any spikes or enemies will drain one of those lives. It won't drain the life, it will just expend it immediately, in fact. So you've got to be a lot more careful in this one. Contact with the spikes will kill you, contacts with an alien will kill you, and there you go. That's how it goes. Oh, and contact with that alien just killed me because I didn't clearly press the barrier in time. So there goes one of the lives already. So yeah, the idea of the game, much like the other two, it's a collect 'em up, flick screen. Oh, well, that's interesting. I fell with the barrier into the middle of some spikes and it's wiped them out. So now this screen is completely devoid of enemies, because if an enemy hits you and you die, if I jump up there I'm going to hit those spikes, aren't I? I'm not going to take the risk. So if an enemy hits you and they die, it also kills the enemy, so that's at least one good thing, is once an enemy's killed you, it can't kill you again because it disappears off the screen. Nearly there. So that's a full screen of enemies destroyed, items collected I should say, and enemies destroyed as it happens. So I've moved on to the next screen and it's more of the same. There's more spikes, there's more enemies, there's more moving platforms, there's more things to stand on, stuff like that. So let's try and make my way through this one. Where am I going here? Go down here next, I guess. So you've got a limited amount of shield. It goes down in the bar. The blue bar below the score has got the shield level, which goes down as you use it. There's a very narrow, I think, red line in between the sort of blue bits that goes down as you expend the shield. So what am I doing next? Over here? No, I can't get up there now. So I guess my decision is made. I'm falling off this screen, off the bottom of the screen, and oh well, I got lucky. I landed in a place where I didn't die, and that was pure fluke, because just like the other games, oh, and there goes another life. Just like the other games, it's highly likely that you could fall into a place where you're going to die. Where am I going here? Oh yeah, same place as before, respawned in the same place as before. So yeah, there's a lot of having to remember the layout of levels and knowing where to land as you go through them. Ooh. And again I've fallen onto some spikes, but with the shield activated and it's wiped them out. So that's an interesting, probably byproduct, not really designed to be that way, but there you go, it happens anyway, so good stuff. Okay, I've gone on to this next screen, so I may as well, while I'm there, get rid of that enemy. I wonder if I go off and on the other side whether they respawn. Nope, they don't. So something in the game is recording whether an enemy has been eliminated or not, clearly. So they look hard to get, so I'm just going to move on to the next screen. So just move forward onto another screen. I found this thing here. I don't know what that is. I don't seem to be able to do anything with it. I'm not sure. Is it a trampoline? No. It's just another thing that's in the landscape. It doesn't do me any harm, so fair enough. So I mean, there's not much more to say about these games. They are very similar, but all have their own charm and quirks, I suppose you could say. I don't really know why I'm going over here, because surely this is just going to land me on another thing that... Yeah, okay. So I've got to very carefully time my drop through here. As it said in the instructions, you can't die from falling a distance, but what you can do is die from falling onto an enemy. So, well, I've made it. Get rid of both those. So what happens now? I guess this one's going to come down here and I'll kill that one as well. You've got to wait a very long time for this platform to move backwards and forwards. And then what I'm going to do is jump up here. Get rid of that. Oh no, I've jumped too many times. That's okay, I can just drop back down there. But yeah, to get all those valves, you're going to have to keep going back up to the top and moving across and dropping down and going round and back up to the top, and so on and so forth. Oh no. So yeah, there's a lot of just spending time doing not a lot in this game. Oh, I've back up to the top again, so may as well go across and get these two. Yeah, we'll manage to get two in one drop. At least that was something nice. What happens with this? Oh no, that kills me. Okay, so that's interesting. It does kill you. The one on the other side didn't, because you stopped by walking into it by a platform, but on that side you die. So how many have I got left to get? No, that's got sent me down to the bottom. Now I can't get over there, so I've got to hang around and wait again. This is a bit boring. And with a limited number of lives, I think this probably makes this the least appealing of the three games. But I've got 2 lives left, so I may as well persevere until they run out. I think I've got the high score at least. Okay, let's try and get this one. Once again, the jumping's a bit on the twitchy side, so you can quite easily end up pressing return for just a second too long and then end up somewhere you don't want to be. Waiting for this platform to come backwards and forwards really is very tedious. Okay, so I've just got the one valve to get on this level. I may as well get them all, I suppose. To get that one, I'm going to have to move along the platform. Just like the other games, the platforms, you have to keep moving with them, and you move faster than the platform, so it's quite easy to walk off the edge of them. So it's got all the same characteristics as the other 2 games. Very similar graphics as well. Let's see if I can drop through this platform here, this side thing here. No, I don't know how I get through that. Okay, oh no, back to the bottom again with a mistimed jump. No, and again. Oh dear. So nearly made it back to the other side of the screen here, and what I'm going to do now is try and get out of this side. Oh, and straight away I've walked straight through and got killed by an enemy hitting me. You couldn't possibly know that was going to happen. You need very fast reactions to hit the barrier, or maybe you should just hit the barrier by default when you walk up from one screen to the other, just in case. So I've got 1 life left now, I think, and it's more of the same. So let's just see if I can get some of the valves on this screen. There's not too many enemies on this one, but I'm going to guess that all of those things there, those spade-like things, or spades facing downwards, trees facing upwards, you might say, I'm going to guess that all those kill you. So what do you do here? Oh. Okay, I can clear that now. Drop down through there. Jump back up onto it. Yeah. Get this one here. Back on again. Drop down, and again it's a waiting game now. I've literally got 1 life left, I think, now. Yeah, this one's a bit slow, and there's a lot of just hanging around waiting for platforms to come back, so probably the least interesting of the 3, I would say. Probably put this as the worst one, although I've probably lasted longer in it than the other 2 games, to be fair. For a bit of careful moving around. Got lucky again there, because there we go, I've got that one. Oh, let's just have a look at this screen. Yeah, I think, yeah, the key to these games is every time you move from one screen to the next, hit the shield button. But that's nearly run out now, and I'm on my last life, I think. So It's probably not going to last much longer, both in terms of the shield and the game. I think I've got one last little bit of shield. Yeah, the shield has now run out. What does that mean? Oh, it means game over. Instant game over when you run out of shield. That's a little bit unfair, isn't it? Well, there we go. I got the top score at least. You can see I managed to make through what is that, 8 or 6% of the game, so not very far, in 10 minutes of gameplay. And there we go. That's the end of the third game. Hit key to go on, and that just gets you back to the title screen. So I'm not going to play that again. So that completes my look at the Peter Scott Trilogy, and I have to say, having played all three of the games, they're not necessarily his best games, but that probably explains why they ended up on a £1.99 compilation rather than being released at full price. Having said that, I think they were all playable to some extent, despite some frustrations with the controls and the design in places. I would say that Yo-Yo was probably the worst of the three, mainly because it's a little bit less forgiving by only having lives rather than an energy bar, and also the fact that when you run out of shield it kills you off that wasn't very good either. Second, I would probably put Pandemonium, and at the top I would put Network as the best of the three. That seemed the most playable, although I did fall into a pit that I couldn't get out of and died in that one, so that wasn't ideal either. I think if you bought this collection back in the day for £1.99, you would have got decent value out of it, despite some of the frustrations of the games. In terms of whether I'm going to keep or sell it, well, there's not really any reason to keep it because I've got all three games on the SD card on my Beeb, and to be honest, I'll probably never play any of them again anyway, so I will undoubtedly sell it at some point in the future, but what I'll probably do is wait until I've played a few more of these BBC Micro games and then bundle them together, because they're not really worth a whole lot. If you've got any thoughts about the games I've just played, then let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video then please give it a like, and if you want to find out more about Peter Scott's games, well, stay tuned to this channel because there's another video coming up that'll give you some more information about them. All that remains now is for me to choose the next game that I'm going to be playing in Witchfinder's Gaming Vault by spinning the Wheel of Names. And the next game I'm going to be playing is Jackie Chan on the PC Engine. So join me for that in the near future, and in the meantime check out other retro gaming content on my channel. Thanks very much for watching, and until the next time, see ya!